This world has been sundered by a tide of arcane energy. The winds of magic churned into a maelstrom. The Tome of Fate drew me north to find out why. It guided me to a distant fortress steeped in blood. A battle was fought there. Though long over, the spirits still lingered. In the shadow of a broken portal, the trail ended. It was here the tome conversed with the dead. They told of Urson, the bear god of Kislev, lost in darkness. A noble prince ventured to save him, yet he strayed from the path and was corrupted by chaos. Savior became executioner. A single shot, bound in faith forsaken, pierced Urson's heart. And so the bear god roared. The tide that broke the world. Spirits, where lies Urson now? Is he here, in the north?
Beyond the maelstrom, in the realm of chaos, in the forge of souls.
Is he alive?
Wounded and dying, imprisoned in shadow.
What shadow? A demon's?
A master of the dark.
I knew who shackled the bear. Belacor. Only a fool would challenge Belacor. And yet, the power of a dying god, there is no greater prize. A mere drop of Urson's blood would break my curse, ending my servitude to this accursed book. Free to profit from its secrets. But Urson is locked in the Forge of Souls, deep in the realm of chaos, and I cannot enter this nightmarish domain. All routes have been sealed by the maelstrom. There must be a way. The tome unveils a spell to summon a portal, one to bypass the maelstrom and create a door into chaos. Knowledge to bargain, for I need an ally, one who is tempted by the power of the god bear and can withstand the horrors within.
Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and today is the day, as the first set of embargoes for Total War Warhammer 3 have finally been lifted, and our first preview faction will be the unveiling of the secret 9th playable lord, the Daemon Prince. Belonging to a faction called the Daemons of Chaos, the Daemon Prince was once a Ugo Prince who was corrupted by Chaos during his search for the trapped Kislev bear god, Urson. Now representing Chaos Undivided, or in essence all 4 of the Chaos Gods, the Daemon Prince offers players the full Chaos experience, as you can earn Dynamic Glory, which is their unique faction resource to receive boons from each of the Chaos Gods in the form of their units or even body parts, and weapons that can be used to customize your very own Daemon Prince. And once you have acquired a certain amount of dynamic glory for one of the Chaos Gods, you can choose to claim the mark of that one master to receive elite units and elite body parts related to that one god, or you can continue to forge a path of Chaos Undivided, where you will continue to receive units and parts from all 4 gods. Now this campaign is recommended as a first campaign by the game, as it allows players to get a taste for all 4 Chaos factions, but more importantly, this campaign follows the overarching story narrative, as the Daemon Prince who thought he had already killed Urson must now rely on the visor in his Tome of Fate to return to Bellacor's Forge of Souls to finish the job in order to complete his ascendancy to demonhood. So let's get started here.
Godhood awaits me.
Now this is what the Demon Prince is going to look like before you customize him with any of the body parts that you can receive as gifts from the different Chaos Gods. And if we take a look at the campaign setup here, you can see that you can customize everything, including the name of your Daemon Prince, since he is technically not a set character from the Warhammer universe. Now from this little button here, we can actually have an overview of all the units available to your faction. Now, I'm not going to be doing a unit roster overview for the Daemon Prince faction, as it will be redundant, as it's just a combination of all 4 of the other Chaos Gods, but I will actually mouth over every single unit card here, so that for those of you who want to get a sneak peek of all the stat cards, you can. So let me quickly do that. And of course, feel free to pause to get a look at the unit card that you wish. And that's all of them. And a really neat thing about this new browser is that I can actually come here and select all the different races and see their full roster if I wish. But because of the rules of the embargo, I will not be doing that. There's also a spells browser where you can see the different lores of magic and the spells within them and the effects with the animation as well. We won't waste too much time here, as let's hop back to the campaign setup. Now, if we look at the faction, it has 2 faction effects. The first one we already discussed. It's the ability for you to gain units and gifts and body parts and boons from each of the Chaos God factions. Also, the Chaos Undivided. It's a separate list of gifts that you can get. We'll take a look at all these once we hop into game. The second faction effect, Reign of Chaos, states that by inflicting damage with a friendly lord in battle, it will unlock random army abilities. Now how this works is that within any battle, you have a meter keeping track of the damage that your lord dishes out. It could be a little bit different depending on which enemy you're attacking. The stronger the enemy, the more points you'll get for Reign of Chaos. And once you reach certain threshold, it will unlock a random army ability. Now, random here means one ability from each of the Chaos Gods. So there are 4 of them, 25% chance to get any one of them. That's the randomness. It's not complete randomness. It's a set roster of choices from each of the Chaos Gods. It'll tell you what the bonus is for each of them. And for every battle, there's a random 25% chance that you get a particular one. You just have no control over which one you will receive. And there's multiple tiers of Reign of Chaos, which we can see in the first battle that I will play out. Now, looking at the map setup, we start out at the western end of the campaign map, close to all the Kislev factions, as after all, we were a former Kislev prince. Now, speaking of that backstory, you can actually play out this backstory in a very neat prologue tutorial campaign that is set up in the game. I can't showcase that today, but I can talk about it, and it's a very neat little campaign. So in the future, when the embargoes are lifted for that, I will be showcasing that before the launch of the game. So keep your eye out for that in the future. Lastly, there's the campaign setting. This is usually the setting I prefer. I turned a visor frequency down to minimum since I'll be doing enough of the yapping throughout this video. I turned off autosave, don't really need it. Incremental autosave, or for the cloud, incremental autosave is automatically turned on for legendary difficulty campaigns, and for battle realism, it's turned on for very hard battle difficulty. I prefer 40-minute battle timers, just a personal preference of mine. And of course, you can change difficulty to your liking. I know a lot of players don't like playing on the hardest difficulty for Warhammer, but it's just something I enjoy doing as a min-max player. Usually the differences are pretty well stated, and if you're curious about the combat multiplier, I think they changed it for Warhammer 3. It's no longer the 20% melee attack rate and melee attack boost that was in Warhammer 2. They lowered it. I think the melee bonuses are only 10%, but there's also changes to leadership as well. Like you lose, I think, about 4 points of leadership, and they gain about 8 points, so it's like a 12-point difference here from hard, and then very hard has all the melee multiplier as well. I think they also get a reload bonus as well. Basically, enemy troops are just going to be a lot stronger than what their unit cards suggest, making the difficult, a little bit harder for you to win in battle. Now that's pretty much it, and we can get this campaign started. I don't really care about the name right here. More cards is fine. Let's take a look at the trailer to see how the visor will tempt our Demon Prince here to go back to fight Be'lakor. He's the main antagonist of the series for everyone's campaign, as he currently holds Urson captive, and we all want a piece of Urson for various reasons, depending on the faction that you're going to be playing as.
A new evil enters the world. A prince of Kislev, reborn a prince of darkness, a champion of the Chaos Gods.
Kislev will fall. It will kneel before me, before Chaos.
You think too small for one so powerful.
Have you forgotten, Seer? I killed Urson.
Why stop at Kislev when you can give Chaos the world?
No more twisted words.
Wait! Urson lives!
You lie.
Wounded and dying by your hand, but alive! The Shadow has him still.
Be'lakor will pay for his betrayal.
The god bears power. It is yours for the taking. So take it.
The realm of Chaos cannot be entered. No one can cross the maelstrom.
I can. I will guide you back to the Forge of Souls. All I require is one drop of Urson's blood. Finish the job you started, mighty God Slayer.
God Slayer. World Slayer. Urson's power is mine.
Our goal is clear. The Demon Prince must harness Urson's power and claim the mantle of a god. I have brokered a pact and will guide him to his desire.
Advise me, as my brother once did, Take me to the Chaos Realms, or suffer his fate.
Prince of Demons, Godslayer, the ruinous powers watch, waiting for you to make your mark on this world. The deeper the scar, the easier it will be to wrest Ursun's remnants from Bellicor. First, establish a capital. This will alleviate the attrition from which you currently suffer. Your new fortress is all but complete. Claim and dedicate it to one of the Chaos Gods. Yet do not linger, for trespassers approach. Colonists from Nordland attempt to settle the untamable lands. In a mistaken belief, this will quell invasions from the north. Wipe out the gullible fools at their beachhead, the Bay of Blades. Then make the Scalings pay for failing to protect lands that are the dominion of Chaos Undivided. The other Norscan tribes should be conquered and subsumed into your burgeoning realm. And across the Sea of Claws lies even fatter prey. The Empire is within reach, but beyond that fractured nation, the so-called Motherland. Kislev, the nation which abandoned you, whose god you had no choice but to slay. The leader of Ursun's cult, Kostaltin, musters a force to enact revenge against you. Meet them head-on and harvest their miserable lives to power your own vengeance. As you gather your forces, the Tome of Fates ponders a way to return to the Chaos Realms. Your form remains malleable, so use this to your advantage and wield the Legion of Chaos. A prince will become a king, and then a god.
Alrighty, so what is going on is the Visor is now teaming up with us, of course. He will guide us through this campaign as we will try to reach Ursun, defeat Bellicor, and slay Ursun finally, and take a drop of blood for him so he can be freed from his Tome of Fates. It's a curse that he suffers. And along the way, what will happen is periodically Ursun will give out a dying roar. And when he does, the Tome of Fates will activate a portal spell, and there will be portals that appear on the campaign map that you can use to enter the realm of chaos. Now in the beginning, you cannot go to the Forge of Souls directly. You have to claim an aspect of each of the 4 chaos gods. So you have to go to the realm of those chaos gods and defeat the final battle there to receive a mark. And once you have all 4 marks, then for the next time the portal roars, you can enter and take on the Forge of Souls, kill Ursun off, and you win your campaign. So that's how the general structure of the campaign will work. Now obviously you might not be able to defeat one of the Chaos Gods realms during each visit, so it could take you multiple visits to get that mark, to build up your strength and so forth. But that's really how the entire campaign is structured, because currently the Maelstrom from the Winds of Magic is forbidding everyone from returning to the realm of chaos, including the 4 lords for each of those chaos realms, as they're currently not in the realm of chaos. They're also stuck here with us, and they will each have their own story and how they would work with the Visor as well, and we'll get to see that as we do more faction previews. Now, focusing on our faction at hand, the Daemon Prince, we can see how we play. So we're called the Legion of Chaos, and as a Daemon of Chaos faction, we will automatically declare war on any non-Chaos faction that we meet. So it's automatically sort of, this is total war style, not too much diplomacy, which is another reason why this is usually recommended as a first campaign. You don't have to deal with the new added diplomacy layers, but if you prefer that, then this might not be the faction for you. This is going to be very similar for all the Chaos Gods. I believe only Sinesh's faction does not automatically declare war on all non-Chaos faction they meet, but this is fine. For a new player in particular, you're just interested in destroying all the non-Chaos factions. I already mentioned what dynamic glory is. It's our currency. It's displayed up here for each of the gods, as well as Chaos Undivided or the Undivided Glory. You have multiple ways of gaining this through captives post-battle, passive gains from any sort of events, any sort of skills that you pick up. Basically, there's going to be ways to gain it per turn. And for each of the settlements you gain, you'll get a default amount that's increased one time after you do the capturing. For each of the individual Chaos Gods, a little bit different. There's more ways because there are buildings that you can dedicate to each of the Chaos Gods. Basically, when you capture a settlement, not only do you gain some undivided points, you can dedicate that settlement to one of the Chaos Gods. You cannot dedicate it to the Undivided, but in essence, you will get the buildings for that Chaos God, and from those buildings, you'll gain passive amount of glory for each of them. And what you want to do with these glory is if you come down here, all the unique mechanic will be displayed around your end turn dial over here. And for us, we don't have that many mechanic, which is why the faction is slightly simplified for new players. But the mechanic we do have is rather complicated. So here is our sort of reward meters for each of the dedication. You can see the bar up here. It goes from 0 to 3,080 points. As you reach each threshold, you will unlock things like new body parts that you can actually place on yourself as you sort of transform into a different demon. And each of the body parts have stats that will make you stronger. And there's going to be sets of body parts where if you equip the whole set, you get additional bonuses. And there's going to be options that you can have that, you know, it's related to each of the different Chaos Gods. So for example, here you have Khorne's related armor set, so more spell resistance, which is something that the Khorne units will have. And then you have a complete set. You can mix and match different body parts between different Chaos Gods if you want. But in addition to that, you will notice that for each of the individual Chaos Gods, you'll get their units. So once you reach a certain amount of points, you'll unlock the units available once you have 35 Khorne Glory, but you can't just recruit them right away. What you need to do is use the buildings related to that Chaos God to unlock them as well. So the requirement's not just fight, and pick up a bunch of glory points and you get all the units. You have to claim settlements dedicated to the gods and build the buildings required to unlock the units, and then you can recruit them. So that's how the process works. In addition to that, you get also bonuses for your faction, depending on, you know, which god you are picking up, and you can build up all 5 meters here. There is no exclusivity in the first bar. And I mentioned the first bar because once you get to your 3,080 points, you have to dedicate yourself to one of the options here, which means you can dedicate yourself to, say, one of the 4 Chaos Gods. And when you do, you basically halt your relationship with the other 3. All other glory gains will be halted. So basically the bar will stop. So if you click this early, wherever you are on your Khorne bar, that's as far as you will get. But you can also choose to take the undivided path. And this means you will be locked out of the elite versions of the units and abilities, as well as the parts for each of the 4 gods. So you will not have access to these 4 bars here, but you still have this one up here. And you actually start unlocking sort of a medium tier-ish unit for each of the Chaos Gods. So you still get some units from each of them, but the cool thing is you get to keep the bars from the previous. So you can still get base units from each of the factions. You can still get all the parts you see up to here, but you just basically won't specialize in one of them. And you get a different variant of your Armor Prince of Chaos at the end as well. And what you want to do with these body parts is come to your character screen. You can equip them here, and it will actually look different on you, which is quite cool. We'll get to showcase this once we unlock our first one as we play out this first turn. But this is the new sort of detailed Lord manual that you can see all your stats, your abilities, if you have them, which you do, you have a ton of them. And you also have, you know, your upkeep, your army, where you are, any traits you have gained, any battle effect you're currently under, any campaign effect you're currently under, And this is basically where you can customize your Demon Prince. You also have your skill tree. The skill tree looks very similar to the Dynamic Glory tree. You pretty much have ways to increase the glory gain for each of the Chaos Gods you want. This one is for all glory, which is quite nice to pick up. And then it'll lead to some, related skills to whichever Chaos God you pick up. And the skill tree moves, I guess this is called horizontally across. There are 50 levels. 50 level is the cap, so you're not going to be able to pick up everything. You have to pick and choose, and pretty much decide your specialization. All right, so that's going to do it for our menus there. Dedication, we already talked about that. So let's take a look at our starting position and our early goals. So we have Nordland here. They are the Empire's, settlers who are coming here to take a piece of our land. Big mistake, we're going to destroy them. The first battle for all the factions are typically very, very easy. They're usually given a very small army, and you're given a very big army. So this one's not going to be very hard, but once we do defeat them, we pick up Khorne's Glory and Nogo's Glory, 30 points each, and then we can claim the Doom Keep as our main settlement. And then our early game mission would just be to take control of the Ice Tooth Mountains, which is our province name, so we can unlock the commandments which we can issue. You can see each of the settlement will have some sort of unique resource. For human factions, this will become a tradable good to increase your trade value. For Chaos, they will provide different bonuses. So I believe Marble for us will reduce the cost of our Zeech units. So, the unfortunate part is there's no way of knowing this until after you take it, but that could persuade you to perhaps dedicate Doomkeep for Zeech, since you have to pick one for, Chaos Gods to dedicate it anyways. That way you get the Zeech buildings, and then it'll make your Zeech units cheaper. You get access to them a bit faster. But after clearing out the Bay of Blades, which is right here, we're supposed to move up against the Scalings, who are losing the land. So once we defeat them, we basically pick up the first province. And then moving beyond that point, we have quite a bit of choice here. You can sail across to fight the Empire a bit more, which is all the way down here. Or you can snake your way down this way and just try to approach Kislev factions a bit early if you wish. But there are quite a few options. The Fog of War is actually pretty difficult to see. We don't actually see very much. It'll be more clear once we do defeat this first army and claim our first territory. This is the new diplomacy. I say new because there are a lot more options in Warhammer 3. It's closer to Three Kingdoms, for example, and you can see that we can make deals, quick deals, and if we want a non-aggression pact. The cool thing is there are not any per turn payment options, so everything is lump sum, and because of that, balance offer is quite easy to use. You don't have to think about whether this will alter the values anymore, and you can just basically take that offer. Now, I think the smart thing to do as a Chaos faction is when you have factions that you're at least friendly with, there's not many of them, and you spot that they're at war with certain factions that you have not met, it's pretty good to just offer to join war. In this case, we're at war with everyone that they're at war with, because you're going to be at war with them anyways. Might as well get paid to join that war earlier, because once you meet them, it's auto war declaration. So let's say we quickly pick this option up, get paid a little bit of money here. We cannot trade as a Chaos faction, so that's not an option for us. So that's a bit of
tribal fury
missing out on our part.
Enter then.
But for example, we're quite far away from this faction, and they are at war with a faction that we don't know. They're going to pay us pretty handsomely to fight that war, and we can just accept that. So these are things you can do. Obviously, we can still do the alliances with factions that are sort of Chaos-related factions. So everything else is similar, just there's no trade. Trade deals just not a thing for Chaos factions, as our currency, wow, he's angry. Our currency is favor with the Chaos Gods, so it's not really money. Therefore, you can't really get it. Oh, and if you're curious about corruption, we'll take a look at this once we take a settlement, so let's just get that going. There's not much else to take a look at. And our first battle, as you can see, quite easy. 2 spearmen, 1 archer unit, and their general. We have a lot of units here. We have a bit from each of the Chaos Gods, so we can get a flavor of them. Bloodletters from Khorne and Nurglings. They animate really, really well. Marauders of Slaanesh. We have some blue horrors from Tzeentch. We have some pink horrors from Tzeentch. We have the Seekers from Slaanesh. We have Plague Drones. These are like basically flying bees. And then we have Chaos Warhounds, which is just basically dogs, Chaos dogs that will charge out at the enemy. And we're going to fight this one. So let's go. And they have these little battle hints before, or tutorials. Just a couple. Sometimes they just have no options in the beginning, which is a little weird. But this is, of course, a development in progress. And that's your Wind of Magic. Alrighty. So we don't have any spells right now. At least not any Wind of Magic spells. We have abilities that we can use. They pretty much only make your Demon Prince stronger. He flies. He has wings, so of course he flies. There are a couple units with Vanguard deployment. The Nurgling here. Of course, the fact that they stack on each other. Very, very cool. We also have, I think this is our Seekers. They're the mounted unit. Slaanesh units are really, really fast. They also have poison. We're going to try to keep the casualties a bit low, and I also would like to throw our Demon Prince, our Lord, into battle first because I want to build up the Reign of Chaos. Now, I have played this a couple times, and there's just not enough units on their side to really build up this bar. You can see there's potentially 3 tiers if you unlock more of your dynamic glory for each of the Chaos Gods. But in essence, once you hit this meter, you'll gain a new army ability. And if you roll into the Khorne version, Horn of Khorne, you will gain an AoE melee attack buff. If you get the Curse of the Slug, it's a speed debuff and a chain hex on the enemy. Narcissism will inflict cannot move or immobilize on enemy as well. Arcane Surge will, dish out damage with a spell. So that's what it means by randomness. It's already predetermined. It's just random into one of the 4. And then when you unlock a higher tier version, you have a better army ability that you can unlock, but still be random of the 4. Alright. So I don't think we need to get too fancy. I mean, we have some range units here. We can set them up. Can we do... I don't... Why is the default... There we go. It's like, why is the default formation having the pink horror in the back? They're all range units after all. And then our Nurgling can charge out when they get too close. We'll flank with our 2 Seeker plus the Warhound. They're just the slightly faster units. And the drones... Like I said, basically flying bees. Alright, I think we're... Bloodletters. We're gonna put them on the side, and I'm gonna fly in. I believe they'll charge us. Here they come.
Only one thing from my minions. Insatiable bloodlust.
And the only unit that can cause us a little bit of trouble is the general plus the range units. I'm gonna have our guy fly in there, and there's the new idle icon, so you can see quickly which unit's not doing anything, and you can quickly have them stay busy. And we're gonna let them walk into our spell range for the horrors, and we're gonna start flying out right when they get hit.
Spreading ruin. On the mortal foot.
I don't mind the archers shooting at my lord. There we go. The pink horror has longer range, so we're gonna wait a little bit longer. You see the arrows missing us.
Prince moving. Sent by chaos. Seeking conquest.
Alright, let's get them busy. Time to flank out. And you can see as we do dish damage, we start picking up glory points. So only counts when your lord dishes damage. Nurglings! Row, row. Alright. Let's go in there. Actually, we'll fight the enemy general. And they're broken. Seekers are super fast, as are hounds. And we can increase our attack right here. Poor archer, that guy right there. That's a lot of knockback. Oh no, stay on him, stay on him. Yep, they're all routed. And we're gonna have our general dish it out. Maybe we'll get enough points fighting him. It's close. And he is technically the stronger enemy. Although I think he will break before we get to 100. That's 12 points. One more hit. One more hit. No, just chase after him. Let's see if we can pop this. 99, getting there. There we go. And wait, where can we use? There we go. It rolled into Curse of Slugs. And then the next bar is starting. So you can see this is another 100 points. I don't think we'll get that, but you can use this on enemies if you wish. And you actually use up all your bar. So if you wish for a better spell, you have to save it. But he's slow now, and that's why we can keep chopping at him. But that's pretty much the battle. So let's end things here. We took one casualty. Who died? Must be one of our Nurglings, actually. Yeah, I think one of our Nurgling got hit by friendly fire, I'm sure. One of the pink horrors or blue horrors did the damage. Alright, decisive victory. You can see the rewards at the bottom, experience that you will get, the favor that you pick up. And with each battle, you can dedicate your glory points to one of the 5 options you have. I will go with the undivided for now. And after finishing that mission, we pick up some more points predetermined from events. And our next mission is to capture and occupy Doomkeep, and we'll pick up more glory as well. So let's do that. It's a ruin, so just a free take. And with every settlement captured, you can dedicate it to one of the 4 Chaos Gods. It cannot be undivided, but you will get undivided points, but afterwards you get the buildings of the gods. As I mentioned earlier, I think it's best to go Zeech here because of the marble, which I know it doesn't say here, which is a bit unfortunate. But the reason why that works is because if you look at the marble unique building on the resource, marbles defaults into Zeech glory and increases Zeech corruption, as well as reduce the recruitment cost for Zeech units. If it's a human faction, marble will just give income plus marble that you can use for trade, but for us, it's going to be Zeech related. And the main capital will provide Zeech corruption, I believe glory as well once you upgrade it. Or not. It's just corruption increase. Yeah, it's just a corruption increase. And there's going to be separate corruptions for each type of corruption in the game. And they will have a visual impact on the game map as well. So you can see exactly how the corruption is going. So there's going to be ways to reduce corruption as well if you're playing a non-chaos faction. And control is like public water for historical game for those of you coming from that. And you can see the effect of each tier of control. You can see the 50 to 75, 75 to 100, and the various effect that you get. And you still get a rebellion army when you hit negative 100. And that is pretty much the same across the board for all Total War games. But you can see that once you dedicate it to Zeech here, our military buildings become Zeech military buildings, and they will unlock Zeech units. And the requirement for you to recruit them is you have to hit the glory requirement first, and then you also have to have the building, and then you can recruit them. So for the base settlement building is typically the first 2 units you unlock. So once we have that glory, you have these units ready to recruit. The income building will be related to Zeech as well. So recruitment costs decrease, income, that part is the same. And then you also have increase of the glory generated. So that's where you can generate more glory. Control, increase garrison, sort of a defensive building. You also have other defensive options here, increasing your garrison. And there is always some sort of protection building that will decrease the chance of a plague spreading. I think this is pretty much shared for all factions. Also increase the discoverability of Skaven undercities. So that's pretty much how dedicating settlements work. And if we go back to recruit 2 units, if we go back to our denied glory, you can see that we have built up the bar for our undivided, and we actually unlock our first body piece, the flaming body. So we'll go equip that. We pick Zeech and we unlock the blue horrors, which means we can now recruit blue horrors because I think that's the unit unlocked on the main settlement. And that's how it's going to really go going forward. And you also unlock Marauders of Slaanesh, but we cannot recruit this because we don't have a settlement for Slaanesh. We have to go out and get another province dedicated to Slaanesh and then build buildings for the Chaos God to pick up their units as well.
Hellish power.
But the really cool part of this is when you get body parts, they actually will look different on you. So not only are you getting different stats, potentially, you know, different spells associated with each of the body parts, and there's set bonuses on top as well. You will actually see all that reflected on your demon prints as you play the game, which is really, really neat. And if we do get points, we can, you know, maybe level ourselves up, pick up more glory gain for all glory type. I think that's pretty much the best option to start things off because you get so much from your glory. And that's pretty much turn 1. We're not going to be making these campaigns, we're not playing out Let's Plays during pre-release. The whole point is just introduce the faction, all the mechanics, so you get a feel for how it would play out so that you can pick up the game on day 1 and play it. I know a lot of my fellow content creators will be doing actual Let's Plays before release of the game, but I typically avoid starting Let's Plays before games are officially launched. That's been my policy for Three Kingdoms for Troy, and the reason is most of these builds, development in progress builds, are still getting really frequent updates, really big updates too, and they still contain a lot of bugs. So I prefer to wait till the game officially launches. Instead, I prefer doing these previews for each of the faction, as well as guides before the launch of the game. So if you're interested in other faction previews like this one, please remember to subscribe, and you can also check out my full preview schedule on my channel's community post or in the announcement channel on my Discord, which you can also join using the link in the description below. So until next time, bye!